Alrighty. So hi everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of Technically Managing. It's from Zach because he doesn't have his camera on. I don't know if you guys lost me just now.
I just lost you for a second. You're good now though.
Okay. What was the last thing you heard from me?
Welcome to like technically managing blah blah blah. That was like
Okay.
the way it came through. We're good now though. Okay.
Okay.
So
Cool.
are we ready for my camera reveal?
Yes.
Okay. Right now, the day that we're recording is St. Patty's Day. So I put together a little outfit in the spirit of this.
Ooh.
This
No.
is my St. Patrick's Day outfit.
Do you
Happy
have a
St.
drink?
Patrick's Day, everyone. What'd you say?
Do you have a drink with you? Oh, look at the
No, it's 9
bracelet.
a.m. What'd you say?
Look at your bracelet.
I know my little bracelet here. I
Oh
gotta turn
my
this off, but
God.
I cannot see with these glasses on. I might need to take it off. Okay. So this morning, just for the audience, if I seem a little like all over the place, my morning has literally been like I woke up, I'm like, okay, it's podcast day. We gotta get ready. I'll go get like a nice run in so I'm nice and calm and stuff. Running a little bit behind, got the run in, came back, was having equipment issues, was trying to get like this outfit set up for the podcast. And I'm like sweating so hard. So I literally have paper towels right next to me because I like ran out of the shower and I'm like trying to get ready. And I'm like, I did not budget enough time for this. But we're here and it's all good. So,
The realest question is, how much water did you drink?
there's probably going to be like one bathroom break in this, but I did drink some water after the run just because you gotta stay like hydrated in the
Right,
morning.
right.
But we'll try to get through without it. But yeah, how have you been? Are you back from your trip?
No, I'm not back yet. I'm still in Europe, but I've
Mhm.
been good. Basically just, eating good food, walking a lot, because that's what I like about, like at least like where I live, like you can walk everywhere. So that's really nice.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think I'll be back soon, probably like the next episode that we are recording. I'll probably be back home. But it's
Nice.
been good. It's been nice.
That's good. Have we told the audience where you are yet? I don't know if you want to
No.
like share that or anything, but
Yeah, well, like I'm currently in the Canary Islands. That is where I'm from. My mom lives here, so I try to come at least once a year or so to, get to see her and stuff. So that's what I'm doing right now.
nice. Is it just like family hangout stuff, or are you also kind of doing like any fun like outside the usual plans?
So yeah, like during this period we have carnivals.
Mhm.
So we're doing a lot of that, like dressing up. And I told you about it a little
Yeah,
bit.
you're telling me about that. I don't remember if it was on the podcast or just like us talking privately, but you sent me like I think you showed me a video from it. I'm like, that looks like pretty fun and cool. Everyone's like having a great time.
Yeah, it's basically like a big party outside in the streets.
Hmm.
And they have a lot of like, I don't know how you call that, like decorated carts.
Yeah, those like
A
floats.
parade, yeah, like floats, right? And everyone has a theme. They play different music. So like you kind of follow the flow that you like the music from, right? So you have a lot to choose. And that's still going on. Like it goes on for like a month and a half. So it's like a lot. They love carnivals in here. It's a huge thing.
Is it like, is it there? You said it goes on for a month. That's like a pretty long time. Is it
Yeah.
something where there's like one day that's like super big and it's just kind of like festivities, or is it like pretty like spread out? Because I've never like done like a carnival, but like it seems really like a good time.
Yeah, like it's spread out actually. So, for example, like I know that some people go to the island next to us that is called Tenerife and they do the carnivals over there. And then
Mhm.
they come here and like every weekend there's a carnival in a different town. So, yeah, it's like it's kind of spread out, but at the same time, like for example, like the big day for Las Palmas de Gran Canaria, that is where I'm from, right? That happened 2 weekends ago, right? This weekend they have the South, that is kind of where more touristic people come, and apparently it's like I've never been, but like it's really fun. And they have the same, theme where they have like the floats, and there's way more people, right? Because there's people from everywhere in the world that come to the Canary Islands for that. So I don't know, I'm excited. I'm going as a, I don't know how you call it. But in Spanish is oso amoroso. So let me see if I can translate it to English. Let me see. Loving bear? No, I don't think loving bear makes sense, right? Have you seen those teddy bears that are like from different colors?
Oh, the Care Bears?
Yes, Care
Wait,
Bear.
you're going as a Care Bear?
Yes.
Oh, that's so fun. Well, you have
I'll
to show
share
me a picture of
pictures.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like a great idea.
It's gonna be funny. Yeah.
Do
I
they
have
have St.
like,
Pat?
oh,
Oh,
sorry.
sorry. No, you go first.
Oh, I was just gonna say that like I have like a fan because it's really hot
Uh-huh.
over there. So like I'm gonna have this, like I'm going as the purple one. So
Hmm. I love
but yeah.
that.
What's your plans? What do you have for this weekend?
So I'm in Austin, as the audience may or may not know. So we have like South by right now, but it's also St. Patty's Day. So Montana, my girlfriend, there's like some South by events her and her friends are planning on going to. So I'll probably like tag along for that after work. But I have like an Irish pub like right near my apartment. So for St. Patty's Day, I'm just like, I kind of don't want to pass that opportunity up at some point this evening. But also, I tried to go last year and it was like so
Hi.
packed. It took forever to get in.
Yeah.
So we'll see what's going on. I'll probably go downtown. They have some like South by Southwest events where we'll probably like bar hop a bit. But yeah, it should be a good evening after work and stuff.
Is
Do
that
you
like your outfit for work, or are you going to go out like that too?
I'll take this off after work or after like this call because it is a bit much. But I, so Montana's probably gonna like leave before me in terms of this stuff. So I'm gonna get a read from her in terms of like
What she's
the,
wearing?
just in terms of what people like are wearing for St. Patty's Day. Like if it's a bit on the fun side like this, I'll probably like come rolling through the outfit. But if everyone's just normal clothes, I'll change so I'm not like too out there. But this is essentially without this like sweatshirt that I'm using as whatever right now.
Scarf, I
This
guess.
is
I don't know.
I have to find a picture and maybe I'll like post it on, I don't know, one of like our socials or something. But this is essentially like with the sunglasses. It's very close to like my Austin City Limits outfit I wore to the music festival like 2 years ago. So I was like, oh, I should do something fun for the podcast for St. Patty's Day. What should I wear? And I'm like, my ACL outfit's like close enough. I just add a little bit extra green to it and we'll have some fun with it.
Right. I'm like questioning the sunglasses though, because they're
They're
not green.
Yeah, they're fun, but I really can't see through them, which is why I keep taking them off. So I'm like bouncing between the aesthetic and trying to be able to like function right now.
Right.
Do they have St. Patty's Day in the Canary Islands, or is that like not a thing?
It's not a thing at
Uh,
all.
that's the thing that's like kind of funny about the US is how we just adopt a lot of like holidays and things that are like out. I don't know, it just kind of like goes back to the whole like mixing pot thing. There's a lot of different like cultural things that we celebrate. It's like I'm not even Irish or anything like that.
Right.
I just like having fun with it.
I think it's cool. I mean, like for example, even like Cinco de Mayo, like even though apparently it's not their Independence Day, right?
Hmm.
But that's something that I heard of in the US too. Like it's not a thing that, you hear in here. So I don't know.
Yes, yeah, Cinco de Mayo is like that's a US thing more so than
Yeah.
is it Mexico?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Mexico. But it's not Mexico's Independence Day, I'm pretty sure. So it's like I'm now confused as of like what is the origin, you know?
The US just wants to party.
Yeah, US just wants to drink and party and have
Yeah.
specials that day. I don't know, but yeah, it's interesting. But I do like, for example, like when I was living in Denver, I know that I don't know, like for example, in Colombia, their Independence Day is July 20th. So like they will always have festivals and stuff like that that I think that, you know, in other countries that's not really seen that much. So I do like that about the US. You know, they're very like culture oriented in like big cities where they have like a melting pot basically, you know.
Mhm.
So that's fun.
Yeah. Do you have any good St. Patty's Day like memories or stories? Because I spent my college years in Boston, and like Boston has a huge Irish community. So St. Patty's Day was like always a really fun thing where everyone would like go down to the city from like the surrounding areas of Boston, and just a lot of green and beer and Guinness and everyone having a good time and stuff.
Yeah. I feel like maybe once I went out during that day in college, but honestly I don't remember much of like if I what I did like special or anything, to be honest. Like I know Cinco de Mayo was way bigger for us in Tallahassee, but San Patty, I think probably we went to a brewery or something. It wasn't very, you know, out of the ordinary. Maybe dressed of like green. That honestly is not my favorite color, but
Green is my favorite color.
oh,
That's
really?
why I like it.
It's a beautiful color. It
Thank
looks
you. Does it
really
look good
good
on
on
me?
you.
Yeah, I can pull it off.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So,
Time to get back
I-
into more serious topics, back to the road to product management.
yeah, because I remember today I have a meeting at
Okay.
11. So,
Yeah. Oh, so we have like less than half an hour, basically.
yeah, it might be like
Okay.
a short episode today.
Yeah. We can probably, yeah, because there's a couple more topics, at least like in the terms of solution engineering stuff that
We haven't
I
finished.
want to hit. Yeah. So maybe we can like finish that up, and with the time left, like leave it right at the interview process. That'd probably work out, but we can see where it goes. Like
Yeah,
I'll
the
think.
interview process for product management, right? Yeah, take off
Yeah.
your glasses. This is some serious
I
stuff.
know we're getting to the serious talk now. Now we're going professional mode. So we got to talk about our careers. And I'm slowly starting to sweat less, which is making me happy. Okay. So, is there so I have like a couple topics that I like wrote down just in terms of some last things to hit from our time in solution
Social engineering.
engineering. Is there anything that like strikes you first in terms of like things that come to mind?
Honestly, I don't even remember where we left off, to be honest. I think we spoke
Mhm.
about authenticity and stuff like that. Um, so I mean, you can start and then probably my brain will start working.
Yeah, so I checked to the end of the last episode this morning, and we basically ended right off talking about the whole like authenticity talk, the K, like what we've learned from K Malcolm about that, and also just uh how she was like a mentor for Sangeeta. It'd be great to have her on the podcast in the future. And we kind of like talked about our beginning of the solution engineering stuff too. So I think one of the big things that stuck out to me in terms of like topics left of this is, were there any, did we talk about this already? Like any like projects that really stuck out to you that you enjoyed during your time of solution engineering that kind of highlighted the experience or just like resonated with you?
Um, I feel like every time we worked in a live lab, that was very useful and important because the first project that I had during like building a live lab and stuff like that, I got to see something, I think it was for DMS that I don't remember what it stands for. This is the bad part about knowing like acronyms. It's called
Hmm.
acronyms, right?
Yeah, like
But
those
not,
abbreviations.
yeah, but then you forget exactly what it is. Downtime, migration,
Are you talking about ZDM,
CD.
zero downtime migration?
Could it be? It could be, could be. Yeah, I think it was some downtime migration service or something like that.
Yeah, because I did some work with like zero downtime migration. I created a live lab for that. when
I
I
think
was a
we were
solution
working in
engineer.
a different one though, because we weren't in the same.
Oh, because didn't they split us up into different teams or to like, hey, we're gonna go through, yeah, because there's different types of, yeah, we should like rewind for the audience in a second once we like get our bearings. But there's like different kinds of migration methods. There's like there's logical versus something, shoot, logical offline. There's offline migration, there's online migration, there's
Mhm.
logical. Because the so just to kind of like rewind a little for the audience, we did we were working on live labs when we were on the solution engineering team. And live labs is our platform for just hands-on demos and walkthroughs where customers or just interested users can basically like spin up resources in the Oracle Cloud, and then using these hands-on self walkthrough labs, you can just learn about our different technologies. And we have free tier environments. So if you have like an Oracle Cloud account that has resources in it, you can just use that. But if, say, you're someone who like wants to start playing with Oracle technology and either like you don't work for a company that has those resources, or you're a student or something, or you just want to like beef up your skills, we do offer free cloud accounts where you can like spin up an autonomous database for free. And we have, I believe it's when you first create a free account, you have 30 days with like $300 in credits. So you can use that on like basically anything. But then after that, you still have access to always free resources, which basically includes like having an autonomous database you can always spin up and tinker with. So that's really helpful with combining with our Live Labs walkthrough platform, which is,
Mhm.
yeah, just like a way for you to be able to like learn about these technologies. We have these instructions that like copy and paste code, see what it does.
It's basically
Just,
like a step by
yeah.
step. And I think it's really useful. Like, let's say for students, like if they have a demo that they want to present on and they have no idea, like I think Live Labs is a great place for you to start. Like even just for brainstorming and stuff like that is very useful. And I know of people that have used Live Labs for any interview. Like, let's say that they have a technical interview, not with Oracle, but outside of Oracle, and they want to do, they have to do a demo for their interview. They'll just go to Live Labs and pick a topic and walk through the live lab because it gives you an environment. Sometimes we even have like a sandbox environment that is the green button where you don't have to pay anything.
Mhm.
Even though you might have to pay for the actual service during your demo or while you're testing it, you don't have to pay for anything and you get to do everything you need to do for that demo.
Yeah,
So
just to elaborate on the green button, a lot of the workshops, they either are like always free compatible, which just means you don't have to worry about it. It will work with if you have an always free account. There's workshops where it's like, hey, we're kind of going to some more sophisticated technology. So it's
mhm.
like you do need a cloud account with like real resources to do that. But then, like Ramu's saying, you also have workshops that we embedded an environment into. So all you have to do is press the green button, and it will provision the environment for you. So like you don't have to worry about like being in a cloud account that like you own with the proper resources.
Exactly. Yes.
Mhm.
So
But
super
yeah,
useful.
so to circle back down to the zero downtime migration and elaborate on that, basically when we were solution engineers, uh we were collaborating with the database PM org, specifically Kay Malcolm's team, who's a senior director of database product management, who we were like mentioning in the last episode. And we were helping them build new labs for our migration methods. And they split us up into different teams by people. The one that I was working on specifically was how to do a logical offline migration, but I think there's like four different types.
Yeah, I feel like my team was using Golden Gate for that. Um, but basically, moral of the story, I really enjoyed it because first I was trying new technology and I was using documentation to come up with a live lab, right? With the steps and stuff. And not only that, but I got to test it and give feedback on it. So I think that's such an important part. Like everyone in a team, like even if you're not like a product manager or anything like that, but you find something, definitely like feedback is so important for you to like help your, your organization, even if you're not in our goal, but help your organization overall make the product better. And us as solution engineers, we had the chance to do that, and we always have the chance to do that, right? Like whenever we run into an issue, it's good for us to reach out to a PM or someone that's in charge of that product and give them feedback, because that makes a really big impact. Because if you're running into it, we don't want our customers to run into it in the future. So I really enjoy that. And also working outside of like solution engineering, right? Because we were working with David Start, so he
Mhm.
works on the K Malcolm, and at least we were building that network, right? Or for example, I love David Start for that because he was so patient with me, explaining me everything. I'm terrible in command line. That's something that I'm working on. And he was so patient with me. So shout out to him if he ever hears this, because I was running into a lot of issues, but he was explaining a lot of things that now I understand better, and I am grateful to know, because command line is very important, people. Like sometimes I feel like non-technical people run away from it, but if you know the basics, it's very useful.
Command line, like just not having an official tech background in terms of degrees, that was one of the scariest things to me because like whenever I thought of like command line, I thought of those like hacker movies where they're all just like smashing the keyboard, the command line's going crazy. And like obviously
Literally.
like that's not how it works, but it is funny because I feel like it's both like one of the things that you kind of forget once you start learning and picking up these technical skills and you get comfortable with it is you kind of forget how scary it was, not in terms of its like difficulty, but just like in a fear of the unknown kind of way. So like that's like one of the big things with just kind of pushing yourself past like any mental barriers on like adopting tech where it's always it's usually not as scary as it seems and everything makes like sense on the other side. So it's just kind of most of it is like kind of pushing past that fear of the unknown barrier. And once you do that and you're like, okay, baby steps, we're not going to try to like figure everything out at once. We're going to take this one step at a time and make sure we like build some solid fundamentals here. That's like basically most of the process for figuring stuff out,
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, I don't know
at
if
least for me.
yeah, like I don't know if this ever like affected you, but when I started looking into tech, something that was a struggle to me was like not seeing something physically. You know,
Mhm.
like for example, like when I took my Java class, right? Um, my biggest struggle was to like, yes, I was writing a line, right? And sometimes like, you get to put inputs and outputs and see results with your outputs, right? But it's not the same as like, for example, I don't know, if you're cooking, right? And you're seeing the process and you're like visually seeing something compared to when you're
Mhm.
like looking at code or doing command line, like you're so used to, for example, like dragging and dropping a folder somewhere, right? And you see it move, right? But in command line, for example, like yes, you might see it move, but it's just so different. So that's something that I struggled with, like technology for a very long time, until
Mhm.
that's why I like the cloud a lot, because it's more visual, you're actually dragging and dropping stuff. I don't know, it's just so different.
It's nice having an option. Like, I think the way I learn quickest is when I have access to environments where I have both those options, where you can both do the commands in the command line, but
Hmm.
also it's like you have that UI option just to kind of, I don't know, maybe like training. I don't like the word training wheels because it infers that one's inferior to the other, but you know what I'm getting at, where in terms of
Hmm.
it was something I was more comfortable with because I fully know what you're talking about with that. And I just wrote and published like an article on APIs this week, like
Mm,
application programming interfaces. And like I mentioned in the article, how just like we're saying now, like this was a topic that when we were learning about it in solution engineering, it was really hard for me to wrap my brain around at first, just because I was having a hard time visualizing it in
mhm.
terms of like I feel like especially when you have something like APIs where there's a lot of surrounding concepts that you're not going to really understand APIs that well unless you at least kind of touch
Play
on
with
all the
them.
things around it.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that was one that was hard because once you learn about it, you're like, okay, I can visualize this in my mind, but like it is hard like when you first start out with some of this stuff to do that, especially when it is more of like I mean, with APIs, we have Oracle REST data services, which does give a visual interface for building them. But at least the concept at first was like hard because I didn't really have a visual I can look to.
Right. Like, okay, so for example, like I'm a product manager for spatial and graph. I don't know if I've said that before, but we have like two ways of like doing an analysis in our data, right? Like for example, if you want to do spatial analysis, you can go through SQL Developer and just use geocoding, right? That is very similar to SQL, right? But well, not only geocoding, like geospatial coding, right? And through SQL, you're not able to see it visually, right? But then if you go to Spatial Studio, you're able to see everything visually, right? Like you can get your spatial analysis, drag and drop it into the map, and you get your results, right? So I was struggle like, of course, I do get, a result saying these are your results for that spatial analysis, right? But it's not the same as doing it visually, So I don't know. I would always struggle with that at the beginning, and I think I still do. But I feel like that's part of me not coming from a technical background, not being able to understand that in the background, of course, there's things happening, but you need to switch your mentality to not always seeing exactly what's happening,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's my struggle.
Are there any as we get like closer to wrapping up the solution engineering time, are
Mhm.
there any things from your time in solution engineering that you regret or wish you did differently?
Um, Honestly, no. I don't want to be like the type of person that says I don't regret anything, but I
Uh-huh.
feel like I had a really good experience overall, Like I don't regret anything. I even like the fact that I had Frank and Sangeeta as my managers because like I like learned so much from, for example, I already told you like Frank, like being able to talk to him about questions, getting ready for presentations and stuff like that. And he was always like wise with things. Sangeeta, same thing. I feel like Sangeeta and we had more of a connection of like women empowerment,
Mm-hmm.
because she did definitely change the way I thought about things, especially coming from like a first generation, college student and in my family and everything. Like she basically told me, don't be scared of asking because like sometimes you have this like thought of like, oh, I don't want to ask to not bother anyone, like she was always like ask for this, you're in your right, like it's okay, the worst that can happen is a no and that's it, right? So I think that was like a very important like lesson that I learned. So overall, I feel like I said yes to almost every opportunity that was given to me, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that's also like a very positive thing to do if you have the time, right? You should definitely say yes because you never know, right? Like you might meet someone that's going to help you in the future or that you're going to learn from, right? In the future. Or you might just gain some experience on something that you didn't know how to do, or you're helping someone in general, right? So, like, if you have the time and you're not like overbooking yourself, I would say yes to opportunities in general. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. What about
Yeah.
you?
And I'm sure we'll get like into that in the interview process next episode, but like just to kind of like reinforce what Ramu just said, that like because I was basically the same way and just said yes to everything. Where I'm like, I don't even fully understand what you're asking,
Yeah.
but sure, I'll figure it out. It's like that's what led to at least me getting the PM position because just having such a diverse set of projects and things that you worked on, both attached to your core KPIs, like what you're evaluated on performance wise, and also the things that weren't. It's like that's kind of how you get your portfolio of stuff that you look to that when it's time to look for your next job or position or promotion, that's when you like kind of take out your binder of like, okay, like what have I done the past year? I did this, this, and this. Well, what themes, what skills can I draw out of those experiences and just show the narrative of how I'll be successful in whatever it is next step of my career. So like yeah, definitely fully agree with that. I think I'm kind of the same way where it's like I don't like to look at things with regrets because even when I mess up, it's like I'm always just kind of like, it's a learning experience. Like I got better and that hurt a little bit, but like you know what? Because it hurt, I'll learn a lesson from it. The
Exactly.
one thing that I like, yeah, like the one thing that like I do kind of wish I took more advantage of though was getting to know Brian, our VP, where he was like such a great guy and he seemed like he had like a lot of wisdom and experience. And we had a chance to talk to him a couple times, but just because we were like so early in our career, like at least for myself, the opportunities I did have to talk to him, I was like really intimidated to him because I'm like, here's my first like tech VP. I don't want to say or do anything stupid. So you kind of play it safe. But and I feel like the me of now would try to be a bit more put myself out there with someone like him, but
Mhm.
just kind of like in the moment, I'm just like, like intimidated kind of thing. But looking back on it, I'm like, he would have been someone who would be really good to kind of pick his brain on some stuff and like some wisdom there. So I think like that's the one that comes to mind for me.
Right. Yeah. I think it was also like I don't know when you had the chances to talk to him, but like when we all had the chance to talk to him, it was a little intimidating to do it as a group, when we had
Hmm.
one-on-ones with like even Mark. Um, so I don't know, like it is, I don't know, it's intimidating overall. But
Yeah.
yeah, networking with them would have been like a good thing to do. But just commenting on like what you just said of like sometimes I didn't know what I was doing, but I would still sign up for it. I
Hmm.
think that that's such a great mentality because sometimes you are so intimidated because you're like, what is this? What am I signing up to? Or like sometimes you might just think like, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm not going to sign up for this because I'm just going to mess up, or I'm just going to be like, I don't know, a burden, to be asking them all the time, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? But that is so important. Like, it doesn't matter if you don't know how to do it, like, you'll figure it out. Um,
Yeah.
so don't say no to opportunities. I think personally.
One of my favorite lines is by Richard Branson. He's that like billionaire dude who likes to have fun and he like owns the Virgin Group, which is like Virgin Galactic, Virgin Airlines, Virgin Music, all that stuff. And he has this line that's like screw it, just like screw it, let's do it.
Mm.
And I really like that because and I read his biography and it's one of my favorite books. And the whole thing about that isn't like, don't take dumb risks or things that can like screw you over,
Right.
but look at situations as what's the downside? What's the worst that can possibly happen? And if that's something that's an acceptable outcome, just be like, screw it, let's do it then, kind of. If this is going to be something that has very high potential upside and the downside's limited, those are the kind of things that you want to throw yourself at just because that's how you grow as a person. Because if you're just constantly only doing the things you're comfortable with, you're not going to be able to push yourself because you aren't pushing yourself. Like by growing, you have to kind of step into that like area of like the uncertain, the unknown, and all of that. So that's just like something I've always tried to kind of like hold myself to, especially when I'm feeling uncomfortable about like, I don't know about this, like I don't really kind of get it. What if I mess up? Blah blah blah, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I feel like even in the future, like, for example, my perspective is like right now is the time for me to try everything I can,
Yeah.
just to figure out what I like, what I don't like, what I'm good at, and then be able to be like, you know what? If an opportunity comes to me, I might not be as good of a fit to you, like I'll let you know beforehand, but then I decide whether I want to do it or not, in the future. But right now, I'm just trying to understand what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. And opportunities like that are just like the best way for you to like grow and know what you want in
Yeah.
the future.
And especially when you're young, it's like that's something where you really want to grasp onto that concept as early as possible because for most people, I mean, everyone's situation's different, but
Mhm.
for the large majority of people, your 20s is your time where it's like you don't have responsibilities. Like, I want to have like a family and kids and stuff one day. It's like
Mhm.
I'm going to be less risky when I have
Exactly.
mouths I have to feed
Right.
and my decisions aren't just about like taking care of myself and making sure my girlfriend doesn't get angry about me. It's like, no, like stuff gets serious. So it's like use time when in your 20s when it's like you have that flexibility, you can run lightweight, like you have that fluid ability to kind of experiment because that's not something you'll have your whole life. And
Exactly.
yeah, but I
Well,
know yeah, I get going. So
yeah,
next
no,
week
I
we'll
just
get
want to
back
say
to
one
oh,
more thing,
okay.
and is that I do have a mouth to feed, and that's my dog. So, but yeah, so yeah,
Mhm.
yes, we'll have to, say bye for now. But next episode, maybe we should talk to Sangeeta to see if she's like willing to come in.
Oh, that could be good as like before we finish up the solution engineering series, we get Sangeeta on. Yeah, just to kind of that would be a good capstone. I like the idea. Let's reach out
Yeah.
to her about it.
Alrighty.
Sangeeta, if you're listening, you'll hear from us.
Exactly. Alrighty. Thank you.
Yeah, see
Have
everyone
a good day.
next week.
Alrighty.